I do want to talk about some of the issues that have been raised. Let me start with the issue of men. I think that we need to look at the issue systematically, because there are women who will hold down their daughters while they're being genitally mutilated. And there are many men who I would want to stand alongside with in the fight for women's universal rights and against honor killings and so on. And so I do think that it's an issue that affects both men and women, and that both men and women have a stake in changing things. And I think that if we don't look at it systematically and blame men alone for the situation, we're not really going to get anywhere. Regarding the issue of the fact that you had mentioned that there's an exaggeration. I'm not sure how anyone can exaggerate honor killings, but if we want to talk about the role of political Islam, of course, Doa's family was a Yazidi family. But I think, I think the point I was trying to make is that it's not just religion. The Archbishop is reactionary and he wants Sharia law in Britain. But I can still walk without being killed for not being veiled and for saying what I want to say. And I think there's a distinction when religion, as I said, all religion is misogynist, all religion is homophobic, all religion, in my opinion, is inhuman. I'm an atheist, but I think you can even look at it very objectively and see what religion has done throughout history. Every religion has done throughout history. I think, and look around us. We don't live on another planet. We live in the 21st century, and we can see the havoc that religion in power is wreaking. It's one thing to say that people have a right to their opinions and their beliefs. Of course they do. However much you may think their opinions are vile, however much they may think my opinions are vile. But I think the problem is that when you have a religion being the banner of a political movement, when it has state power, when it actually sanctions the stoning to death of women, when it sanctions sexual apartheid and forces women to walk around in a straitjacket and a mobile prison, we're talking about another phenomenon. I understand that women have been oppressed throughout centuries, but that won't reach us to a solution. We live in the 21st century, and we have to look at why in the 21st century, what are the reasons and what are the movements and what are the different systems that are actually causing the situation that we have today. So I think if we don't point our fingers to the political Islamic movement, we are putting our heads in the sand, and we are doing a great disservice to Doa and the many women like her. So I do think it is important to name and shame and condemn and stand up and challenge this movement, as many people are doing across the world, but it needs to be a much, much stronger and much more effective. And I think one of the strongest movements against this political Islamic movement you can see in Iran, for example. And the fact that Doa was trying to stand up, even though she most probably knew they were going to kill her, is evident of the fact that it is not people's culture. Her father didn't want her killed, her mother didn't want her killed, her brothers went and dug her out of the rubbish pit. So in fact, it's the culture of a ruling elite, it's the culture of political Islam, and it's something that we need to stand up and oppose vehemently. On the issue of whether criticism of Islam, you mentioned the back, could be seen as being anti-Muslim, I think that is the ploy that the political Islamic movement uses in order to silence criticism. Why, if you call the Archbishop a nutcase, and if you have Jesus Christ in diapers in Jerry Springer the Opera, it's not being racist against Christians. But if you criticize Islam and the political Islamic movement, you're being racist. It's rubbish. It has nothing to do with racism. Racism is against people. It's not against an ideology. It's not against a religion. And saying it is only an effort to silence people and to stop people from talking about Doa, to stop people from talking about Maryam Ayubi, who was stoned to death in Iran, to stop people talking about Atif Rajabi, a 16-year-old who was hung in a city square in Iran because of crimes against chastity. The movement is doing across the globe, and I think that it's an outrage that the world has not stood still and done much more, and we need to do much more. And I know we are all doing our best, and there are a lot of people who support what we do, and who do strongly believe that Islam and the political Islamic movement need to be challenged. And just finally, I do want to talk about the issue of interpretation. It doesn't really, I couldn't care less that there are different interpretations of Islam. I don't care less if the Archbishop and some other bishop and some other whoever has different interpretations. I don't really care. What I care about is that when it's in power, it kills me. It kills my family members. It can kill people I know. It can kill people like Doa. It can kill and maim and brutalize countless human beings. So I think, anyway, women's rights are not subject to interpretation. I'm sorry. I don't care if you think that a woman should be beaten with a stick or with a feather. She shouldn't be beaten at all. And I think we need to begin with universal rights, begin with the human being, and not with religion and interpretations and culture, because we are going to get it wrong. Thank you.